Hello and welcome to the Expansion Chamber episode 18. I am joined once again by Pete of Good Guys, Guns and Ammo, and Larperatorkid has returned from the dead to rejoin us on the podcast. Very special welcome to him for coming back.
Shalom.
So today we're going to talk about the ATF, excuse me, and their new rules, talking about firearms transactions and stuff like that, and speaking of firearms as well, illegals being able to own guns. So we'll start about the ATF. Pete, your thoughts?
Oh, I'm sorry. First of all, why don't you enlighten the audience and actually
Yes.
LARP and myself? What's the new kind of ruling that they're trying to pass now? What are these guys up to?
So essentially saying that a lot of private sales, so engaged in the business. Let me just pull up their website. This will be
get the exact wording. Very important.
The word from the Stalinist's mouth.
The legalese.
Open a Chrome tab here. ATF.gov.
Their website's way better than the New York State NICS. I'm going to tell you our NICS in New York State's garbage. Like everything else here.
Okay, this one. Oh no, it's not sharing that one. Okay, whatever. This one works. So, zoom in. Final rule for engaged in business, promoting earn a profit and terrorism. Blah, blah, blah. So essentially, what means engaged in business? Clarifying like dealer, purchase, all that shit. But essentially, what it means is, I don't know, there's so much shit to read. But essentially, what I got from looking at other, like Mr. Guns and Gear did a video. I think Arms Scholar. All the usual dudes that do something when the ATF does something stupid. Essentially saying that anyone who does a transaction where like I sell you a gun, it could be to potentially, perhaps, possibly some sort of business because I'm making money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So essentially if I make a profit, I essentially is what I got.
That so like they need to have an FFL if they're making a profit.
Yeah,
from the guns. Okay.
Yes. Or at least I think it probably needs a background check. I think.
Okay.
I don't know, but the thing is, right, that I instantly think is okay. Right, there's a lot of people out there who want FFLs. Right, there's a lot of people who'd like to be an FFL because you can get guns shipped straight to your door. That depending on what you are, you can just make your own SBRs and shit. Right, there's if you're
if you have an SOT,
you can make your own fucking full autos and shit. So, do you need an SOT to make SBRs?
You need an SOT, okay. and you have to be. It's a manufacturer plus you could sell. I'm an 07, so
okay. But you can't manufacture NFA items.
No, unless I have the SOT, and I don't have that yet.
Can your business possess NFA items?
No, because I don't have an SOT. So. Okay. I need
to. It would still be easier to get an FFL now, I would think, because if you're saying, hey, if I just sell like a gun and it counts as business, right? If I sell Pete the Shadow Systems, hypothetically, and I make money off of it, so, if I fully understand ATF's rules,
they're trying
I would highly recommend anyone here go watch like the Mr. Guns in Gear video. He explains it a whole lot better. But if I meet their new criterion to say I'm doing business, then I should be able to submit a letter to the ATF and say, hey, I've sold 3 guns to my friends, or I'm going to be selling 3 guns to my friends here, so I want to get an FFL, make sure I had everything legal or whatever. And
there's a lot of requirements though. So let me give you guys a little bit of background. So in order to get an FFL, it used to be that you could just like do it out of your garage. A lot of the older like rules were like you could have an FFL out of your garage, meaning a lot of guys were doing stuff like gunsmithing out of their garage, or they were selling ammo very low key to like groups of friends and stuff like that. And they got FFLs for their homes, but the rules have become much more stringent now. So I'll give you guys the process that I went through to go get my FFL for Good Guys. First and foremost, I had to have a brick and mortar location, like a retail store, retail space, right? I had to be zoned for that by the town that I'm in. I had to have a lease for the space with town permission before I even could apply for my FFL. Okay. So there's a lot that goes into becoming an FFL. And then the ATF came down, paid me a visit, checked out the space, made sure that all the requirements were met. And that was just the beginning of the process. There's also state regulations. There's also town regulations, depending on where you live, so on and so forth. So it's not just the ATF getting involved. In our case, here in Suffolk County, New York, it was the Suffolk County PD. They come down. They make sure you meet certain requirements that New York State needs, like roll down gates and a safe and a security system and all these different things. So if you're asking for an FFL, it's a lengthy process to get approved. You do get approved. You're going to have to meet requirements. It's not just like, oh, well, now I'm going to be an FFL if you want me to be an FFL. Well, it's a backdoor way. Sorry, I lost my voice the other day, and I have dry throat ever since. But it's a lengthy way to backdoor, just basically unconstitutionally say no private sales. That's it. No more private sales. They're doing it in a backdoor kind of way. If you understand, you know what I mean, Larp?
Yeah. So they're making it more or less impossible for your lay person to just go and get an FFL without buying a brick and mortar store and jumping through all these extra hoops, instead of, just being a red-blooded American and going, hey, look, I've got this cool collection of guns. Come on over to my house and I'll sell you some guns. Whoop-de-doo.
Right.
They're making that impossible.
In states that
and then now they're saying you can't do the private sales like that. That it might count as you needing an FFL, but you don't meet the criteria for an FFL either.
I mean, honestly, all it is a grab for more harassment. So let me explain what I mean. So New York, okay, we are one of the most harassed places when it comes to being a gun owner here. In order for me to have a pistol, I have to have a pistol permit here. And it's not enough just to have the permit and then you go buy all the pistols you want. I go buy the pistol. I have to go all the way to the police station, put it on my permit, like the serialized whatever. It has to sit on my permit, and then I can come pick it up from the store. And if you have any pistols in your possession that are not on your permit, it's a felony. Okay. So
I actually met someone the other day who's a convicted felon because he was caught with a gun that wasn't on his pistol permit.
Yeah.
So how do you get it on your permit? Don't you have to take the gun to the...
No. So the way it works in my county is I, as the FFL, sell you the gun. We do the background check. Assuming you pass, we give you a bill of sale with all the pertinent info. And then I give you 2 pictures of your gun, one tight shot of like the serial and one of the gun itself. Okay. Then you take that out to police headquarters where we have the pistol section. They put, and this for me, from where my store is, it's a 40-minute drive. It's crazy. And then you wait on a long ass line, a really long ass line most of the time, because so many people are buying up guns, which is a net positive. Get it put on your permit. Make sure they give you a purchase receipt, and that the right serial number was stamped. You wouldn't believe how many times I have to send people back. Sorry, they're like missed it by 1 digit, because I can't release the gun if it's not properly put on the permit. You know what I mean? Because then they're walking around with a felony by 1 digit, right? And then so that's just one way they fuck with us here. But then another way they do it is now we do ammunition background checks. You come into the store, you want to buy 1 box of 22. Okay, cool. Fill out this paperwork. Give me your driver's license. Somebody take a photocopy of it. Also, while we're at it, I'm going to run you through our New York State NICS system and background check you the same exact system for a pistol or a rifle or anything. And, they deprioritize the ammo purchases because they're busy getting your gun stuff going. And they totally, like, if you're buying ammo, I tell everyone, if you're buying a gun, don't buy ammo with it. Come back later or do it after if you don't want to be delayed, because you're going to be delayed 9 times out of 10. They delay you. And, Pav, we can't hear you.
Do you do one background check for each, or is it like an aggregate?
You could do an aggregate. For example, like
I can do one background check for 5 boxes of ammo and 3 guns.
Yeah, you could do that, but here's the deal. You're also paying now for the privilege of being background checked. It's $9 for firearms, not per firearm, but $9 for any firearm background check, plus $2.50 for every. For the ammunition, right? So
do you get charged that fee, and so you pass it? Like, how does that work?
I have to charge the customer for it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So
how is that money collected by the state or
by my credit card that's on the file with the system?
Gotcha. So every time you do it, you get charged $9.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So why am I telling you all this? It's not to share our woes with you about how New York sucks dick, but it's to tell you it's harassment. They are doing whatever they can do to slow the purchasing of any firearm, right? Meaning it's not like one of those like, let me slow the purchase of a firearm, so like a cooling off period. Remember they used to call it that, the cooling off period or whatever.
A lot of states still have that.
Right. It's not
like
even
3
that.
days wait period.
Colorado just recently got a 3-day wait period. They're trying to bump it up even higher.
Right. 10 days or some shit. But it's not even that. It's built into the system. So they deprioritize your ammo sales. So you come in to buy a box of ammo and you're on your way to the range. Oh, my guy, guess who's not going to the range today? You're delayed. And what I have at my store is ammo jail. So I put like ammo that's delayed into a corner, and then I have to like wait and constantly be checking.
You have to physically have the ammo in store to do the background check?
Yeah, because you have to enter not only the quantity, the exact type of ammo by caliber and manufacturer, but if it's stamped with a lot number, you need to put the lot number of the ammo on there.
What if it doesn't have a lot number, any identifying numbers?
UPC is acceptable, but I mean, that's all you have. Some of this like Russian ammo that comes through the store on transfers has no lot number. It's like some Tula shit.
So can I order, what if I want to order ammo online? Would it be shipped to the store?
Yes, you cannot.
So like if I bought a gun online?
You cannot order ammunition to your door in New York. It has to go to an FFL, and then you pay me a transfer fee. Now, I have the cheapest transfer fees on Long Island, period.
Do you charge anything extra for transfers or no?
Yeah, because I'm not making any money and I'm doing all the work, paperwork and everything else.
Fair.
So I have to charge something. Most guys charge a minimum of $20. I charge any quantity. It could be a pallet. I don't care. $10 for the first SKU, 5 each additional SKU. So if you have 5 types of ammo, or let's say 3 types of ammo, it's $20 plus the background check fee. So like $25 basically. It's all this is not making anyone safer. It is harassment. I will tell you, it's built harassment that's built into the system so that they can number one, create a de facto list of who's got what. New York State, they can monitor now, crunch all the data that they're getting and say, oh, wow, AR-15 sales have gone up, or 5.56 sales, or 9mm. I don't know why they want all this data, but they're doing it, right? But it slows the process down. It makes it much more tedious for not only the consumer on your guys' end, but on my end. Think about this. I'm the only guy in my store, right? I get 10 guys in there. I'm trying to help guys with a big gun sale. This guy wants a shotgun and a pistol. This guy wants a pistol. This guy wants a rifle. This guy wants some optics, right? And you come in, I want a box of 22 to go to the range with, right? Now I got to waste 10, 15 minutes on that sale.
As opposed to, just checking them out real quick.
Oh yeah, I got you. Just come on by real quick. These
Now,
guys.
what if it's like a shell case, like just if they want the brass or like the actual like bullet
Components.
itself, like reloading components.
Yeah, if it's not powder, I think it's cool, but I don't sell
So
reloading components.
is it gunpowder that you have to have like if I wanted to buy gunpowder, like a background
it's a
check?
good question. I haven't gotten into reloading yet in the store, so when I do, I'll let you know. But
because I wonder if this would be a loophole, kind of. I don't know. I don't know if there'd be some liability involved. But what if you sell the components and you have a reloading station there in your shop?
No.
Someone would blow something up, man.
I mean, listen, I don't want a reloading station in my shop. Number one, I don't even know if I want to deal with reloading. That's enough as it is. Like, not right now. I'm not ready for that. That's just too much. Guys get weird too. Everyone's got like, I want like XYZ, everyone's particular. Like, the cutest thing in the world is when someone comes in and asks me for a very specific brand of ammo. I'm like, oh, look at you. How old are you? Because it's like
this goes into the year 2019.
It's not like you're asking me for Hornady critical defense or a duty or something. That's normal.
It's like, do you have Aguila 147?
Yeah, and you're like, what even is that fucking shit? Number one, and then number two, like, you have to understand, if you're a consumer, like, ammo moves in waves. What you find on bulkammo.com or luckygunner.com or something like that ain't going to be what trickles down to the shops, because we have certain distributors and bulk ammo has certain distributors. And also, don't ever be surprised that, gun store pricing is higher than what's coming through like your bulk shops. I mean, why do you think bulk shops can sell so cheap? They buy in such high quantity.
And they're online, so they don't have the in-store.
The overhead, yeah. We would never be able to match that. So when people say, oh, like in New York, some people don't even do transfers. They're like upset by it. I'm like, dude, I'll do 1 million transfers a day. I just want people to be serviced, you know what I mean? And like have the capability of buying. And so essentially in New York, what we have is this enterprise. Oh wow, there's 2 Pavloses. There you go. We have this enterprise that creates a very difficult system to operate within. Now, I will tell you that the 2 counties that I mainly serve are very easy to deal with. Like, the police are great. They're actually nice people. I love my folks at Suffolk County and Nassau County. They're great. They're just dealing with the pile of shit that they've been given by our shit like government here. But I will tell you that my solution to all this is to overwhelm the system. I tell all my customers, like, everybody needs to be buying a pistol, or the best thing, everyone right now, all at once, go get your pistol permit in New York. It's such an arduous process. You want to bog them down for years so that they can't possibly serve everyone who's coming through the door, and then be sued for not being able to serve everyone who's coming through the door, because we've already sued them in the past. You understand? Okay. But if we bog the system down here, that's the only way to get it through these people's heads. One, a big part of your constituency are gun owners and 2A supporters. Okay. And 2, those people need to be serviced. They need to be taken care of as per their constitutional rights. So, I know I'm filibustering. I'm sorry, but in terms of being an FFL, it's a very complex thing. It's not just laissez-faire. You have to keep meticulous notes. If I close the store today, I have to keep all that material for 7 years. If the ATF puts in a notice for me to pull someone's record, I have to have it to them within 24 hours. Okay. You got to know like what you're asking for. The truth. Go ahead.
I always thought, like, with an FFL, like, as soon as they close, they destroy all their records.
Mm-mm.
Or is that maybe how it used to be?
I
know someone who used to own a gun store.
Yeah.
Or someone who used to know someone. And then and this was probably maybe 15, 20 years ago, if not more. But as soon as they closed, they literally burned everything.
Okay, that's possible. But I'm going to tell you right now that
But
that
things also probably have changed in the past
that I've heard
15 years.
different. 7 years I'm keeping those files wherever I go. 7 years. So, 5 years from now, if I close the store tomorrow, I might get a call from the ATF about, hey, you sold a gun to Mr. Joe Smith I'm like, what the fuck? And then I got to go to October,
Do you have to give that, or do they need to get a warrant or some sort of
you
subpoena?
You give them what they're asking for within 24 hours, or you're immediately shut down.
Well, what if you're already closed?
You give them what they're asking for, or you will be a part of the investigation now too.
Gotcha.
All right. So it's very, very, very tightly controlled.
Because I feel like that. So I mean, I'm not super well versed. I have a decent understanding, so I know most times if the ATF or law enforcement contacts an FFL, they'll normally just give it to them.
Yeah.
But I would think they need some sort of authorization from the courts.
No, I am
or
a
at least a
federally
subpoena.
licensed. I'm a federal licensee. It's part of my responsibilities as a federal licensee. I essentially work for the ATF.
I feel like that kind of violates some sort of anti-registry laws, but
everything is registered. I'm telling you now.
yeah. And that's the thing. A lot of people, so it's weird. People seem to misunderstand how registering works, or think that like, oh, this gun's registered to me. Like if you look up the serial number, you're like, that's not how it works. Like your gun's not registered. I mean, in some states like New York, your gun probably is registered.
Pistols are registered in New York. Okay.
Yeah. But in the
yeah.
average non-communist hellhole, people are like, well, I just bought my gun and that was it. Like I didn't register it. But
but
it's
I will
not
tell
that
you,
hard if the ATF finds out where you bought your gun.
You know how easy it is? You know how easy it is, bro? You're at the range. You're fucking around. Okay. Let's say with NFA item. Okay. There's an undercover agent at the range who sees this. They go, where's your tax stamp? Oh, I left it at home. They go, okay, let me see the serial. They get the serial. They go on an app on their phone, and in seconds, they know when the last NICS was done, what was performed on it, if it's SPR or not, whatever. It's all there.
Like when I do a background check at my local store, they can run the serial number and see where the background check was done.
I cannot do that on my end. No.
I'm saying, but the ATF can.
ATF can do whatever they want. They have all the data.
Rules in place against them, like making an electronically searchable database.
All I know is they can run the.
Is it only NFA items or all firearms?
No, all firearms,
including
can be
NFA.
Run, all firearms, every single one can be run, and you can see when the last NICS checks was. Let me tell you a fucked up story. One of my customers comes in the other day, really nice guy. He goes and he tells me how he had this pistol, and it's been in his family since like 1865 or something crazy, or maybe even a little bit later, 1880 something, right? Post Civil War, and it's this beautiful pistol, and he wants to put it on his permit so he can finally shoot the thing, right? And it was passed down from generation to generation. So he takes it with him down to the PD, and he says to him, hey, I've had this pistol in my family for 100 years. I want to put it on my permit so I can shoot it. It's a like family heirloom. It's very special to us, blah, blah, blah. The guy goes, yeah, okay, we'll run a NICS on it. Uh-oh. What happened? We lost the host? This is interesting.
I'm sure he'll be back.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll tell the story until he gets back. So they go, yeah, we'll run a NICS on it and see. And if as long as it was last transferred in New York, you're good to go. And the guy goes, NICS? There's no serial on this gun, bro. It's 100-year-old family heirloom that was passed down from generation to generation, right? So he looks it through and he takes the gun and he goes in the back with the gun, comes back out without the gun and goes, yeah, that gun's illegal. You can't have it. Bro, my friend was like, well, my customer was like, yeah, what's up? So my customer just had his gun taken and he goes, what are you fucking talking about? Illegal gun. This thing is 100 years old with no serial. What do you mean? All right. Because what everyone's concerned with, the ATF, FFLs, police departments, the FBI, anybody, is chain of custody. Okay? Who last had it and how was it transferred? And you have to show that chain of custody in all your records. So it's fucked up. You don't want to be an FFL to do any business. And that's what they're counting on to fucking butt fuck you out of a private sale. Now,
what part of shall not do you not understand?
Now, I will say this.
The core concept.
I will say this. I like background checks as a tool, as an FFL. And I'll explain why. There have been precisely 2 or 3 people that was like, there's nothing that they can do or say, or no amount of money they can give me to sell them a gun, whether they pass a background check or not. Something's wrong here. Something just feels off. My intuition.
Like your
right?
gut instinct.
Yeah. Something like I had one really weird guy, like wanted an AR lower, and I'm like, hell no, school shooter. Fuck off. You're not getting a gun from me, right? But New York State, I mean, all they do is just run an ATF background check after you transfer all the information to them and charge you as the middleman. But New York State sent through a denial for whatever that guy did. And I can't see on my end what he did, if he was a murderer.
I mean, can't you just deny his business regardless?
I can. But I was like, let me run it through the system. It'll give me some time to think about how to handle this fucking guy. But he got denied, and I was like, hey, man, sorry. Denial. You know what I mean? And the dude was like, well, why did I get denied? I was like, I have no idea. Here's your fucking state transaction number. Go ask the state police. Leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because
weird.
I know people who work in gun shops a lot, and he's like a good friend of mine, and he's denied tons of people that come in. They're like reeking of marijuana, or they're, you know, they just don't seem like. And that's the thing. Like, that's the background checks we need, is like the gun shop owner being like, nah, go away.
Well, unless you have an unscrupulous gun store owner who,
I mean, that's just called go to somewhere in Chicago and ask someone for a gun.
Right. But I mean, like, dude, like an ATF background check, like a basic run your fucking information shit. I don't know. I mean, like
do they have to provide fingerprints?
Huh?
Do they have to provide fingerprints?
No.
For background check in New York?
No, it's just like,
or a thumbprint or anything?
No, you're just your info, bro.
Okay.
That's all.
Is there a questionnaire?
Yeah, you fill out a 4473.
Okay, so you guys, I don't know.
Everyone does this.
So the standard 4473, you enter all your. I'm assuming it's the same across. I've only bought guns in one state ever, so it's
the same. A 4473 is standard for everybody. New York, everybody.
You have the computer program or whatever.
Yeah, I don't use Fastbound because it costs money, and right now I'm just like a new gun store, so I just have people fill out a hard copy, and I save those.
Gotcha.
How
long does it normally take? Like the average, like I just want to buy a rifle.
All right, you come in, we bullshit. Let's say I just want that.
Well, I just mean the background check. Like, how long does that?
Oh, okay. So when we had the ATF's website, when we had to use their website, 0 to 12 seconds. I mean, it was instantaneous. Now that we use New York's website, there is absolutely no rhyme nor reason as to how long, why, how. A lot of people get delayed. And just like I had this one customer, this lady who bought a cig the other day, and she sat on my couch for an hour and waited for her because she wanted to go right out to put it on her permit because she took the day off. You have to take the day off to put a gun on your fucking.
It's like a holiday.
It's a holiday in New York. You know,
I mean, to be fair, like, you know, it's a good reason to celebrate. I'm getting a gun, but you know, you shouldn't be forced into doing it that way.
It should be as free as taking a walk down the street. Like, no paperwork, no prior approval. I should be able to just walk out my front door and walk down the street. Shouldn't have to go through this.
We will not know true freedom until we can buy guns on Amazon.
Yeah,
or a vending machine.
Listen, I think here's my opinion on just what they're doing. It's a backdoor way of just saying, okay, fuck you. Personal sales are illegal.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Biden was trying to do that for a while. They've been trying to make personal sales impossible, and I don't know how well this will hold up. I feel like it will get challenged in court pretty quickly, kind of like the brace thing.
Well, and even so, like, the law's physically not going to stop anybody. Like
Yeah.
people are still going to be able to.
It's like, how do you and be
physically
like,
do it.
because that's the thing is also they can't force you to prove or disprove like, okay, where's the gun? I don't know. Like there's
And
no legal responsibility.
there's always like the grandfather clause of like, oh, well, this one was privately sold in this state like XYZ years ago.
Yeah. Or I just gave it to him.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing saying you still can't do that.
Right. Well, it's like how they sell illegal weed in New York. All of a sudden, you had to have like this $250,000 permit to. That's what it costs to get this permit to get weed and
Like to sell medical marijuana or
to sell
whatever.
medical marijuana in New York, right? And what they wound up doing was now you can go into any store that calls themselves, CBD cannabis special, and
Cloud9.
you can buy
CBD
this.
vape shop.
You can buy this teddy bear for $180, and then as a free gift, you get weed with it. You understand what I'm saying?
Do you need a medical marijuana card for that?
No,
Well, they
these
can-
shits are fucking loopholes central, bro. And no one gives a fuck about the drugs that these people are selling. I mean, not that I give a fuck about weed.
Well, but they're probably giving it to kids and shit too.
Who knows, right?
Because if I'm just getting it as a free gift when I buy a fucking teddy bear, and that's like I personally, it's like I don't have an issue with weed on a broader scale, kind of, but at the same time, I hate the smell of it, and not every I don't not everyone who smokes weed is terrible, but so many people that smoke weed are just fucking like awful.
I think the government shouldn't have any control over these kinds of things because
I think
that
drugs should
lead?
be a state thing.
I agree. But circling back to the guns thing and how the ATF can just pull up an app on their phone and do this, and how they're trying to ban the private sale of any firearms, what does that lead to? Like historically, what comes after
The Holocaust.
large swaths of gun control? Nothing good. Historically, nothing good has ever come from lots of gun control.
Yeah.
And especially in like America, where we're so woke and progressive and stuff. Where does gun control like have its roots? It's
Racism.
based in racism. Where does like the war on drugs come from?
Oh yeah, racism.
Also racism.
Yeah,
because
totally.
a certain group of people were smoking hemp. And then later the hippies did it, and that's a whole thing. But at first, it was a very specific racial group. And they were like, hey, we don't like this racial group, so we're going to ban the things that they're doing.
Absolutely.
And then the same thing happens with guns. And now it's...
Well, I mean, that's the thing is ultimately it's, how do we control, right? There's different avenues and things, but firearms are obviously the key.
Well, so here's how I do it. Okay. So here's how I do it. I grip really nice and high in that beaver tail there. Give it a nice big thumbs up. So that way it creates this open space here. And then I take the fat meaty bit of my hand there and squeeze that in there. And then I
control
twist
the gun
like I'm twisting a rope. And that's how I get control. I don't know about how you guys do it, but that's how I do it.
I normally grip it like this and I go up and down.
I mean, I don't know if we're getting into the deeper conversation of like what is okay and what's not okay. I don't think I don't know. This is a tough one, man. It's a tough one to put your finger on. You could be an absolutist, but I love the fact that guy got fucking denied, because he could have fucking went on and did God knows what.
And
right?
Yes, but also at the same time, he's just going to go to some convicted felon who owns 300 fucking Glocks with switches.
Correct.
He's going to get it.
But
for
he's not coming.
$30.
But he's not coming to me. And like, let me tell you, there's been a couple people. I had a guy recently denied that he was like a bus driver, like a very chill dude, and he was very cool, and I was just like, wow. If that guy denied, I was like, wow, who the fuck?
Well, I mean,
else?
sometimes it's just how you answer the questions too.
No, all the questions were correct. It wasn't that. It was whatever they found, because I can't even process it. Like, let me just tell you, the 4473 is self-selection. Okay. If you answer any of those off,
like you say yes that you're an addict
I'm
to
like,
marijuana.
well, I can't fucking process you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're done. Self-selection. If you lie on that fucking 4473, unless your name is Hunter Biden, you will go to 10 years in prison and a fucking $100,000 fine. What I'm trying to tell you is you just never know. I had a weird one. I had a chick buying ammo who was denied, like, because background check on that, right? So, how do we look at that? Did I prevent a fucking murder? I don't think so. But like, you know what I mean? It's just so.
Well, I
It's
mean,
an awkward spot to be
I
in.
met. I don't know if did I come across earlier when I said this, where I said I met someone who's a convicted felon from New York.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a convicted felon because he didn't get his pistol put on the pistol permit.
Where do you
Right?
get the pistol? That's what they're going to ask.
What?
See, in New York,
So
you
I
can't even
guess he
touch
like
a
got it.
pistol.
I don't know all the details, but I guess he got it from he brought it in out of state.
Okay, right,
Like he
which
moved
is
in.
crazy because in New York,
Like he moved from one state to New York, and he never got a pistol permit because he didn't know that was a thing. I guess or something.
well, see, okay, let me ask you something.
I don't know all the details, so
Let me ask you something. When you go to another state and you have your carry, right?
Mhm.
Do you check what their carry laws are in the other state? It's your responsibility. I mean, you have a particular scenario, but I'm saying, like, as a regular citizen,
I
like
mean,
me,
so yes, but honestly, how do I answer this?
Constitutionally,
Judiciously?
per the Constitution, we should have universal reciprocity
yes,
with all of the laws from where we hail from.
yeah, but we don't. We live in a
So,
fucking
and I
tyranny.
mean, yes, and like I said, I'm not saying he's completely not in the wrong, but at the same time, he now can't own or buy any firearms because of a stupid law to begin with about firearms. So that person may very well have been arrested because they fucking at one point some dumb fucking firearm violation.
That law took a genuine, straight up dude who was not trying to break the law, made a simple, honest mistake of not doing his research into some convoluted loopholes and
Highly
all
convoluted.
the hoops that he has to jump through. He just didn't jump through all of the hoops and is now a felon for life.
And the
That's
state of
not
New York
very
will
cash
not
money.
restore his rights.
Yeah, it's
nope.
completely fucked
Non-violent
up.
offender. Like I am completely against there being any sort of thing. The only thing I'm somewhat okay with is a lot of states, if you have a order for protection, someone gets a restraining order against you, you cannot own firearms. And it's hairy because I've seen some of those that don't really seem totally justified. I've seen some that do. Right. But I think if you are a free man, you're not on probation, you're not on some sort of bond release, you should be able to own firearms.
I think it's kind of like a Salem witch trial type thing. Like you're trying to limit someone's rights even though they haven't done anything per se yet.
Yeah. And even then, I don't super agree with the restraining orders because there's so many that I feel like are granted that are kind of like I think honestly, even bond, like being out on bond, should not prevent you from owning a firearm because you've not been convicted.
You think it's just like a pissed off chick who's mad at her man?
And of course you have to come through a judge and show evidence, but you never know like what the situation is. So I think the only time is if you're on probation.
Right.
A stipulation of probation, you can't own firearms. Fine, because probation is a stand-in for being in prison. It's allowing yourself to have more freedom than being in prison, but you're still restricted. Right now, I think probation is highly abused because lots of criminals violate their probation all the freaking time, and then they get probation again because it's easier on the system and it's easier to make that deal. Because essentially, it's like a freaking business dealing. Most of these district attorneys and state attorneys, they're like, "Oh, well, okay, well, we'll put you on probation for 18 months instead of putting you in jail for 18 months," and then they plead no contest or something.
Right, just to move you through the criminal justice system. Yeah.
So to move us along here, if we're talking about who can and can't have firearms, how about the what are we going to call them? I think we all know what I'm talking about. The migrants, the
illegals,
We
can be fucking invaders. Fuck all the bullshit.
Trespassers.
So and as far as I know, that court ruling has not been overturned yet. The Biden administration is fighting against it. I think they filed some injunction or some bullshit or something. But
what I really don't understand is why are we trying to give them rights?
It's
yet
so
our
easy.
Own people.
This is where I come down on it, right? I think on its own, not being a citizen of the United States does not preclude you from the right to keep and bear arms.
It's a God-given right.
It is not a uniquely American right. It is a human right.
Yes.
However, if you are here illegally, you
have broken the law.
You have broken the law, and it is essentially tantamount. Is that the word?
Sure.
Tantamount. There we go. Tantamount to like having a active warrant for your arrest. Like you should be removed from this country. You are here illegally. It's like if you just broke into someone's house.
Yeah, you
shouldn't
have
a
no
gun when
business
you
here.
break into someone's house.
You have no business here.
Now, at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of it's not black and white. A lot of these people who come here illegally, it's not black and white. They are the children of someone who they've been brought here when they were like 1 year or 2 years old, right? The dreamers or whatever bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're dreamers, but they didn't choose to come here. They had no free will at that point in their life, for the most part, and so now they're here. And it's a very complicated situation. Ultimately, I think we need to just go freaking like go to town, like as super strict and just deport.
All right. So
like, if you've overstayed your visa, deport. You're here illegally and you were given one of those court dates. We're gonna come find you. We're gonna get you out of here.
Listen. There was a lot said right there. I'm gonna break this fucking shit down, man. Check this out. So it was an Obama appointed judge who came up with that ruling that illegals can own guns in America now. Why? Why would an Obama appointed judge, someone who has basically been on the side of criminalizing the Second Amendment in our country, Obama,
on the side of the deporter in chief,
and one of his cronies, why would they approve it? Well, it's obvious to me. You give illegals guns, right? Let them get all the guns that they want. And what are they going to do when the $10,000 credit cards and checks are running out and their shelters can't shelter them anymore and they're moving them through the shelters? What are they going to do? They're going to make crime, okay? And then what happens when they commit crimes with guns?
Gun violence statistics are going to skyrocket, and then that's just going to give them more fuel to their fire.
And not only that, when chaos ensues, what happens? What happens after 9/11? Right? The Patriot Act. Right?
All government creates problem. People panic about problem. Government comes in with solution to problem. We buy up the solution.
Hegelian dialectic. Okay? So it's very simple why they would purport to give illegals guns. Now, also, when you're facilitating an invasion into our country, it's nothing less than an invasion. It's nothing less than facilitating an invasion, which is a treasonous act. When you're doing such a thing, okay, why not give the invading army weapons? I mean, it's what's going on. And if anyone wants to fucking talk shit and battle about it, come see the Venezuelan street gangs robbing people in New York. Like it's the middle of the day in fucking Brazil or Venezuela. Right. Beating the shit out of cops, shooting at them. Yeah.
Well, I think it's more than just what you guys are saying. I think it's making them viewed as citizens, right? We're now literally giving them a, the like the one of the greatest American rights, right? It's not an exclusively American right, but it's viewed, no other country really has this right.
Let's keep it real. The Second Amendment is a strictly American thing. While their rights are God-given,
it is a human right. We're the only country that truly recognizes that right.
Right, exactly.
That attempts to recognize it. Used to recognize it, right?
Right. So what
they're doing is, if now these people are having the rights of citizens, it's being codified, right? The other thing is, I think very soon we're going to see this kind of. It's all about wording, right? They used to be illegal aliens, right? Then they're migrants. Now they're undocumented. So then they're probably going to start using the word undocumented citizens, right? And now they're citizens. Then they're just be like, oh well, they're just citizens. Okay, well now there's gonna be some. Why can't they just vote? They're citizens,
right?
They can own guns. Why can't they vote?
Well, it's
right. That's gonna be the process. I think that's the biggest thing is how do you turn them into voters? Well, if they can own if they have the same rights as Hillbilly Bob and all his guns, well then why can't they vote?
Well, today was an interesting day. Do you know what happened at the border today?
I think it was yesterday. The National Guard.
Oh yeah.
Guardsman shot an illegal immigrant.
That is correct.
You want to give the 411?
Well, all I read was that some motherfucker from some other country was stabbing people, and National Guardsman blew him away. Is that what you got?
That's what I comprehended.
Sick, cool. I mean, what happens when you
scumbag?
What happens? what happens between the? Do you guys know that there's a wall? What is it with? What is the country that is bordering Mexico? Is it Honduras? Hold on.
Guatemala and Belize.
Okay, Guatemala. That's the one. Sorry. There you have a wall between Guatemala and Mexico. Why? Why do they need a fucking
I
wall?
don't want those people coming in their country.
Boom.
There's a wall between us and Canada.
You know what happens if you amscray? Like, remember back in the old West days, they would have like, like someone would escape down to Mexico. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Billy the Kid or whatever. After
You can't escape down to Mexico. It's harder to get into Mexico than the United States.
Oh, it's fucking. You know what happens if you get caught? You're fucking. You're going to a prison where you're going to make big rocks into little ones. Hard labor, my friend. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, that's what goes on in Mexico. What the fuck are we doing in a country? We live in a narco tyranny. That's it. That's what we're doing. That meaning we are living in a country where the government refuses to secure our safety while simultaneously telling us that we can't defend ourselves. That's it.
And while prosecuting the people opposing the government in a current upcoming election.
Absolutely. So what does that tell you? Where are we at? You know where the
Banana Republic.
Exactly. We live in what looks like a semblance of a nation, but is the after remnants, the fucking toilet scrape of what America was on a fucking shit bowl after you took a dump and flushed it. That's what we are. We're a flushed fucking dump. We used to be a fucking serious country. We had borders, language, and culture. Now we've diminished that to next to nothing to create chaos.
So many people don't speak English, never learn. They'll live here 20 years and never learn the English language, right? I think honestly, it should be a requirement to learn English, there's citizens who don't know English. I'm like, how are you a citizen? You don't know English.
Yeah, there's a lot of citizens who don't know English.
Like that should be a requirement. I'm sorry, like that sounds xenophobic or racist or whatever you want to say. I'm not afraid of anyone. I just think if you're going to live in this country, you should be able to communicate with people. It's a safety issue.
As a New Yorker, I've been culturally enriched for so many years now. And I'm going to tell you that I know people in entire neighborhoods that don't speak English. Entire fucking neighborhoods, bro. And it's worse down by you in Miami, bro.
Yeah.
So the question is, we know they're fucking us. They know they're fucking us.
Yep.
They know that we know that they're fucking us,
but they'll keep doing it.
And now
something stops them.
So now what? Where are we at, America? I mean,
think it's education. It's I think it's also simply like, hey, and be like, yeah, no, we're not. It's like the FISA thing, right? FISA got approved again.
Yeah, Republicans,
cowards. Absolute cowards.
Yeah, because they aren't fucking. Not only are they not Republicans, there's no conservatives, there's no Republicans. They're all
there was very few that said, okay, we need a warrant amendment. Like that's all they're asking for is you need a warrant for this. Like you need judicial approval to do this. And they're like, no.
That would be a bad idea.
American citizens for no reason.
That'd be a bad idea, they said.
The fact that it was abused, it's documented where they did it with what's his face? The guy that worked for Trump.
Pence?
Cohen?
Or
no, it started the whole Russia thing.
Oh, Carter Page.
Yes. No, Carter Page. Well, that was the FBI agent, wasn't it?
No. Wasn't Carter Page a low-level guy that worked for Trump?
Yeah, okay. It is Carter Page. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Peter Strzok.
You son of a bitch.
I think it's Lisa Page. Is that
Yeah. The smell.
Anyway, so Carter Page was spied on because he had links to Russia or something. But all they were trying to get was dirt on the Trump campaign.
Bro, I bought tagging products. I have links to Russia.
Yeah.
From Airsoft. You know what I mean? Like, fuck off.
It was bullshit, and they knew it, but it was their way to spy on the Trump campaign and use FISA and the FISA courts to do so.
And what is it? The 2-jump rule? Like, if this person is talking to this person and this person, the first one was involved in some sort of whatever they consider a terrorist activity, then now you have the right to talk to that person.
Yeah.
And it webs out.
Link them, like if your accountant also did accounting for someone who's linked to terrorism, now you're linked to terrorism, so we don't need a warrant. We can hold you indefinitely.
So that's why we had like a guy like Vivek now, like say what you want about him, but I think that guy was the only one on the trail that I can remember that was bringing up points like, yeah, we need to gut everything. Like he pulled a full Javier Milei, afuera, Department of Education, afuera, fuck them all and fucking no regrets. And listen, man, I'm just riding this fucking shit heap for as long as I can. I think we're in decline. I don't think it's getting better. I don't see Trump saving us if or when he gets in. I don't see it.
I think we're reaching a tipping point, and it's either going to, like in the movie, a car's teetering on a cliff or like off a bridge or whatever. Either Superman's going to come and pull the bus off from falling off, or the bus is going to fall and all the kids are going to die.
Larp, you're shaking your head. Why?
The bus is gonna fall. There's no Superman here. There is nothing. We're in a falling helicopter, and it's doomed to crash. Now there's all the questions of what do we do about that, right? What do we do to change that?
Can we find the parachutes?
Can we do anything? Yeah, no. There are no parachutes. We're just
I don't know. I think there is more hope, and I'm not a very optimistic person.
But here's the thing, though.
But I think
the helicopter is just the country. Its citizenry is not the helicopter, right? The country, like,
but we're on the helicopter.
Politician, we're standing by watching the helicopter. When the helicopter crashes, we're gonna feel its effects. But we can be sitting there watching the helicopter, going, "Dang, I don't want to be a part of that helicopter anymore. I'm gonna go do my own little thing." So building up your own little community that's strong and hardy and off-grid and independent and self-sustaining is the word I'm looking for, is realistically gonna be your best bet. Yeah. And it's funny too, because there's trying to pass laws against stuff like that. Like in certain places, they're trying to make like farming illegal, like if
like owning chickens or something.
Yep. Well, you have to register your hens now because of the bird flu.
Yep. If your chickens don't have the XYZ state approved drugs, then you can't give them to your neighbor, type of thing. You can't collect rainwater. You can't blah 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 blah. They're making even things like that harder to
raw
do.
Foods. There's this big case in Pennsylvania where they have this one Amish farmer, Eamon something, or not Eamon Bundy, some whatever his name was. Anyway, it doesn't matter what his name is. He has what's called a raw food club, so you can get raw cheese, raw milk, and all kinds of like foods with no antibiotics or anything like that. And when you come to become a member of this club, you sign a waiver like, "Hey, I understand the quote unquote dangers of eating raw foods like yogurts and whatever." Meanwhile, like the Amish do it all day, and they have like,
well, I hate that
and they're all corn fed, like,
yeah,
super. Like, that's not raw. Raw is like eat steak tartare. That's not raw. That's just
culture,
not processed.
Right, not processed. Right, not like fortified.
That's like organic. That's not like actually organic.
Not homogenized and pasteurized. So,
yeah.
Look, man, all I'm telling you is I was talking about this every day, every single day at the store. We talk about this every single day. Customers bring this up. I'm not like sitting there on my soapbox just bringing this shit up. It's just customers, man. Sure. And in the gun community, I think we're the most aware. And like today, we just, guys were like, "Man, I don't think we come back from this shit show." I just don't. It's possible. I doubt it.
I think
Germany came back after all that jazz.
And look at the tyranny there now.
They're not doing great right now, but
I think if we go to that level, we may not be able to come back. But I think there's a lot of things that are different, right? 1930s Germany and the US now. One, social media and technology, right? Is there a big stranglehold over it that's getting tighter and tighter every day? Absolutely. But we still have it. We still have methods of communication, of learning information that we did not have even 10 years ago.
Decentralize that stuff, man. Like,
yes,
comms. I'm a big comm nerd.
There's a lot of tools that we did not have 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago that we have
mesh
now.
Networks.
Right.
I just want to say that.
I mean, we're all in different parts of the country all talking to each other. Right. That wouldn't have happened 40 years ago.
Yeah, man.
right?
I,
In,
mean,
in
I
this
don't know.
in this way. So I think,
I guess
and then
that's
this video is going to go online. It's going to get a couple views. Other people are going to see it. This information is going to spread. That's not something that would have happened so long ago. I think that's why we've held off so long. Is even if the Patriot Act and 9/11, all of that stuff, there's so much knowledge. Whether it's some of it's crazy and it may not be true, but there's so much information out there that it's so hard for them to control the flow of information like they once did when they literally controlled, your top 3 media organizations, and you only learned what you were supposed to learn. So I think it's a different world. The other thing is, I think people are starting to wake up. I think COVID really backfired in a major way. And I know so many people that have completely, I hate to use the word transitioned, but completely transitioned from where they were a normie who didn't really care what was going on, who didn't, listen to whatever MSNBC and CNN said, took it as fact. Donald Trump was Hitler, all this stuff. And now they're like, actually, this Trump guy was pretty great. This Biden guy's an absolute crazy senile nut job. And the media has been lying to me for decades, right? A lot of people are starting to wake up. And I think the crazier they get, yes, that some of their base will always follow in the ends of the earth with all the Trump's Russia stuff and now all the new Trump trials and all the stuff that they're doing. But so many people are seeing this. Like I have a good friend of mine who's a liberal who lives in New York. And he is like, this Trump stuff's ridiculous. Like they kept, oh, we got him. Like they've said this like 30 times now. Like I'm tired of it. Like leave it alone. Like clearly you don't have him. Clearly this isn't going to turn into anything. And this is just a political witch hunt. Like, and he, like I said, he's not conservative by any means.
I'm just glad we haven't gotten to the point where like his plane gets just zipped out of the sky.
I think if Trump dies, even if it's natural, there's no way that it does not backfire. Like I would turn into a martyr at this point. Almost.
I understand all the points you're making, and for sure, I don't want to black pill anyone. We have to keep fighting, and I just don't know anymore in my lifetime how much more life I have left even. And I don't know if in my lifetime being older than you guys, I'm going to ever see the country that I knew before. What's fucked up is I lived in pre 9/11 America as an adult. I was a grown ass man, like 25-year-old man. And I know I have my foot in 2 completely different timelines simultaneously. Because the other day I saw some footage of like New York in the 90s, and it was such a fond memory because 95 on, New York went through this golden era, this heyday, because
like Rudy Giuliani, right?
Giuliani saved the city, and like people were coming back, and like money was being spent, and all this like cultural stuff started to happen. Like you got cool places to eat, cool this, cool that, whatever, right? And it wasn't the hellhole that it was that I grew up in. That was, the first time I had a gun put in my face was 7th grade, and I've seen that, but even that feels like, even that 7th grade memory, that old scary New York, the golden era, whatever, it all feels like a warm bath when I think about it, like just beautiful time to live. And now post 9/11, where they used a terrorist event to take away
take away freedoms, gain an insane amount of control over our lives,
right? And you don't even notice it anymore. You're used to it.
It's normal. It's normalized now.
You're used to the fact that they could get your metadata and do whatever they want, spy on you. Just all they have to do is accuse you.
Side fun tidbit about metadata: Google has stopped cooperating with doing that, but that's just Google. All of the other big techs still do. And
Apple's the one that was, I think, the for one point the outlier that didn't cooperate.
Yep. Now a lot of them are starting to, like the big ones are starting to not cooperate. However, if you have like TikTok on your phone or like all of these other things, they still do. It's just the big head honchos don't do. It hasn't made it any harder for the feds to snatch your data and do what they want with it. But
it just takes like one additional email.
It's a PR thing for Google, which is good. It's beneficial. I'm glad that they are taking that step and doing that. So hopefully all the other small.
What I want to do is end the show on a more jovial note. Yes. So I'm gonna play a video, and we can all watch it, and then we can share our thoughts.
Is it the National Guard guy?
Faced with a deadly threat. Whether you're faced with a potential deadly threat or a timed shooting match, your handgun belongs in your hand, not in your holster. Quick Draw is a precise ratio of viscosity-optimized silicone and lanolin, developed for use in tactical environments by military and law enforcement. This modern lubricant gives you an ultra-fast draw from the holster, while also protecting the firearm from abrasion, scuffing, corrosion, and rust, while conditioning and breaking in the holster. There are numerous kinds of silicone, each with viscosity ranging from thinner than water to thick grease. Quick Draw was perfected by testing a range of silicone types and viscosities to create the perfect lubricant for drawing a handgun from modern snug holsters. Field tested by military and law enforcement, just one spray of Quick Draw creates an ultra-thin lubrication barrier between the holster and firearm for extremely fast draw times and a whole lot of confidence. Quick Draw. Speed is everything.
Not every fucking commercial in the gun world has to be so dramatic. Like,
You know, April 1st was like 16 days ago, right?
This video is here. Let me. I'll find you the original upload date. This is not an April Fool's joke. This video.
People will just be out here trying to sell anything, bro.
look,
They
dude.
changed how YouTube is, and now I can't fucking.
Look, dude. All I'm gonna tell you is this:
A year ago. That's from a year ago.
not every fucking commercial in the gun industry has to be a Grand Thumb video intro.
Well, it's not even a grand thing. That video is just. It looks like some infomercial for one.
Why do they always have the tactical guys breaching a doorway with a fucking light
Yeah.
on? and
But also,
smoke?
like, what the like? That is the most. That is legit snake oil. Like I've not like it's literally oil. It's snake oil. Like it's literally. It's the most. I saw that. I'm like, this is hilarious. But there's comments. There's people that have actually bought that, and there's a video from some company or whatever showing how, or like some YouTube channel, like one of the shill ones that like always shills for all the name brands, like saying, "Oh, look, but my draw is like so much faster when I used it," and they like tested it. I'm like, oh my god, like that is just that's the big other problem. And I kind of wanted to use it to address this problem is the problem that we're going to always have. The reason the ATF can do what it does, the reason the government can do what it does, the reason our rights are so restricted is because the gun industry is full of so much garbage like that we're never going to be able to put our focus on what's necessary. There's so many fucking scumbags out there trying to sell you freaking
You're faced with a potential
this shit, right? They're trying to sell you that fucking garbage that we're never going to be able to just fully focus on the true fight.
And this was more jovial way to end the fucking show.
It's funny. It is funny.
You also got to remember, like, the majority of gun owners. What is the majority? Because it's not us. We are not the majority of gun owners.
Get used and abused by these companies.
They buy one gun, put it under their pillow or in a safe somewhere, shoot it maybe once a month, and that's like on the high end.
On average once a year.
Once a quarter.
No. On average,
probably once every 2 years.
Well, no, once every 14 months, I believe, is a stat that the average gun owner shoots their firearm. That's some nonsense. But dude, look, here's the deal. There's always going to be that. There's always going to be snake oil salesmen.
But the issue is, this isn't like a snake oil salesman in some industry that I wouldn't say has no consequence, but I'm at like in the toy industry, right? Are your rights gonna, is there a battle right now for your rights to own your Lego set or your Transformers?
Right.
Not yet.
Action figures. Yeah, but there's
well,
not
actually.
There,
you have to have non-gender conforming toys in California in a whole aisle. So,
well,
there's a little bit of a battle.
Other than that nonsense, for the most part, it's not a huge issue.
No,
the problem is these tools are under attack, and every gimmick, every little thing that one makes our community look worse, right? Every time we have all this stuff, it makes our community look worse, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have these people who fall for this stuff that literally, I would say, almost uneducates them. Like I feel like I lost brain cells watching that video. And if someone watched that video and was convinced I need to buy this spray to put on my gun and my holster,
I don't think that product necessarily does any harm. I don't think it.
Well, no, I don't think it harms your gun. Money. What I'm saying is, I think it like rots your brain, or like shows
it's
that
junk
you
food. It's the gun world equivalent of junk food. Basically, is that what you mean? Yeah,
it's
I don't think it's that deep. I mean,
what I'm saying is it's emblematic of the issues of the industry.
yeah, well,
right?
look, man, who wants to train when you could just go buy a new gun that solves all your problems? Whoops,
And I think
that didn't solve my problem. I'm gonna go train. Wait a minute, let me go buy this new gun that solves all my problems.
and that happens. I think we've overcorrected somewhat as a gun community, where we now say, don't buy any gear, don't buy any attachments, use a fucking Alice belt from the fucking 1960s and a stock Glock, and never use anything else because nothing matters.
And that's fine if you can train with that and become proficient with that. That's
but I think
A-okay.
we've gone overboard
And you get clout
because
points
in
for it.
reality, right? Let's say like this compensator, it maybe has, let's say it benefits you overall 1%. It probably does more than that. But we'll say 1%. I don't think that's definitely not overestimating, right? It gives you a 1% benefit, or maybe a trigger 1% benefit overall. 1% when it comes to the fight for your life could be that 1% you need to win that fight.
Well, then why aren't you rocking snake oil on your holsters, man? Because that could just give you that 1%.
That doesn't do shit. That's like,
Have you tested it? Have you tested it? The shields on YouTube have. The shields on YouTube have.
Point being, my point is something that gives a minute advantage is still an advantage nonetheless. So this idea, now I understand if your budget is limited and it's like, okay, I can buy $500 worth of gear or $500 worth of ammo and training, probably the ammo and training. But the idea that modifying your gun or buying, the Gucci Glock or the Gucci 2011 isn't going to give you an advantage. I feel like we've kind of we've overcorrected as a community, where now it's like, no, don't get any Gucci anything. Don't buy a nice whole, like, just buy like bare minimum and just only train. And can you train to a high level with the bare minimum? Absolutely. But I feel like people are kind of being brainwashed into thinking like first gun, right? So a lot of people ask, well, what first gun should I buy? And I say, what's your budget?
Block 19.
Well, so I used to have that same answer, but now I say, what's your budget? And they say, like, what could you reasonably afford for the thing, the thumbs up, to protect your life of yourself, your loved ones. And they're like, well, actually I make, a couple $100,000 a year. I could probably spend like, $3,000.
Staccato.
I'd
You've
say
got
like
some nice friends, because my friends always say like, oh, maybe like $500. I'm like, cool, that'll get you the gun, maybe,
yes.
but not the holster, the ammo, the lights.
When these people say like, hey, I budget just for the gun and have a significant budget of over $1,000, I'm like, get a bull armory, get a staccato. If you can afford it, get a freaking Nighthawk, right? If I could equip every new gun owner with one gun, I'd give them all like a Nighthawk Sandhawk.
I wouldn't. I'd give them all like either a Gen 5 19, Gen 5 17, or like a staccato M&P or
G45,
M&P 2.0. G45s absolutely rock.
So, and I run pretty much all Glocks, but the reason I say that is it's an easier gun to shoot if you know what you're doing. You still have to train.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I can totally
this is
agree
my
with
thing
that.
and it's not like this isn't like we're getting into racing, right, with cars. And hey, your first car, you may not want to get that Ferrari right away. Maybe start with that, that old Honda Civic to learn how to drive.
I've put this thing in the hands of so many new shooters after giving them like something more like this. With this, they're groups at like 7 yards, like just slow fire, like a good like 8 to 10 inches. You give them this thing and it drops down to like 3 inches, which is still like kind of, but
it could be better. But
3 inches, someone who's like, this is their first time ever picking up a gun, you give them like a quick little rundown of like, all right, here's how you hold the thing, here's how you aim, here's how you shoot. Give them the Glock or whatever. They're gonna 8-inch group this thing, 3-inch group. So yeah, there is some merit to your statement. Like,
and that's my thing is this is the I think the way we view it, right? We're hobbyists, we're competitors, we have so much experience. So I think not that we gatekeep, but we're like, oh, well, you need to start here, right? Like you need to start there. Like you don't want to start to if tomorrow someone said, hey, I want to get into drifting or racing, I would not say, okay, go buy, a freaking BRZ, not a BRZ.
FRS.
No.
Supra.
What's the Nissan GTR? Don't go buy a GTR. Start with like a Honda Civic or something. Learn how to drive first, right? Don't go buy the GTR right away because you'll probably crash and kill yourself. But if I buy the staccato instead of the Glock, I'm not going to, if I'm unsafe, I'm unsafe with a gun. It's not a safety issue. And ultimately, because what if the next day that person needs to use that gun defensively? Not they train for a year and get really good. Because let's be honest, it probably takes the average person at least 6 months to get to a year to be like a competent shooter. Like
depending on how
like an
you train.
A-class shooter. Like an A-class shooter, probably a year of training, you could get to an A-class shooter.
Those girls,
depending on how much they actually give a shit about it, because like
I know,
there
so I'm
are
saying if you
folks
train
that,
you train like twice a month for a year, you can probably become an A-class shooter.
those chicks from Terran Tactical did it in like 4 months. I heard
Yeah.
because they're amazing.
Yeah. Well, of course, you also have like
they showed
grandmaster-
Tyrion the precious. That's
Yeah.
how you become good at shooting. You just show them the
So,
precious.
well, but anyways, my point is, because that's the thing, this is not, if it's competitive, okay, start slow and work your way there. But this is a tool to save your life. Why in God's name would you not start with the best possible tool you can? Because what if it's tomorrow you have to use that tool? I would much rather equip someone with very little firearms experience with the easiest gun they can possibly shoot. So if literally 5 minutes after they buy that gun, they have to use it to save their life and the lives of their family, then, well, here, buy this Glock, which Glocks are fine. But if you can afford something better, this will take more time to master or at least get to a certain level of skills than a nice
I think you're looking at it only from a shooting perspective. There's so much to consider. I think you have to look at it from a moving parts perspective. The Glock having so few moving parts. I mean, let's face it, anybody could be a Glock armorer after about an hour.
Absolutely. And there definitely
You know what I mean?
those
I am a
considerations to make.
certified Glock armor, baby. Let's go.
But you know what I mean? Like,
class got canceled.
what I'm saying is like, like moving parts, that the Glock armor, so you could do your own work on your own gun, the aftermarket for it, reliability, all that sort of stuff. So when I say, like, when you say buy the Staccato is going to fucking need way more cleaning and maintenance and lube than anybody's fucking Glock. And let's say you come home from the range, you have a busy life, you have a wife and kid or whatever. You don't always have time to just sit down and, even do a light wipe down on your fucking gun. You just throw it in the bag or back in your safe.
I know people
you go.
This is such a minutia based argument
Yeah.
of like, what is the best first turnkey thing? And there is no like answer. If there was, everybody would just
of course
agree
there's maintenance and
universally on
everything.
that.
And
Go
those
to
are
the
things
range
to take
more than
consideration.
once every 14
So if you have
months.
someone who doesn't, if it's someone who doesn't care and they're not going to put the effort in, it doesn't matter what gun.
Well, so here's the other thing though, right? Like this gun, what I got to do to get it ready for a gunfight is load the magazine, put the magazine in the magazine well, rack the gun, and then pull the trigger, point and shoot, right? Same thing with the Staccato, except that one has a manual safety, but we're gonna ignore that. I mean, more or less same thing.
It's not
Mag
that
in,
hard to
rack
do.
the thing, point shoot, right? They all work that way more or less. Revolvers are a different story, but most of your like modern semi-automatic like fighting handguns, magazine in, rack gun, point shoot, right? It's way more involved than that. But if that's all you like, what's that one Die Hard scene where like he hands him the Beretta and goes point and shoot, right?
No, that's
or not Die Hard.
Mission Impossible 3.
That one. Thank you. Sorry. I don't watch movies much, but
So,
y'all know the scene I'm talking about.
I am a movie nerd.
Anyway, mag and gun, rack slide, point shoot. If you were to hand that to hand a Glock to somebody or a Staccato to somebody or really any of these modern doodahs, you're gonna get a very comparable result. I would imagine the hits on that aren't gonna be drastically different enough to really say, oh, you have to buy this one versus this one, as long as you're not, shilling high points and things like that. You're gonna get a pretty comparable result among all of them. So that being said, get a Gen 5 Glock 19.
Just do it. You're going to get there anyway. You can do anything you want. There's no way of avoiding buying a Glock 19. You're going to buy one. It's going to happen. It's my number one selling gun.
That's the other great thing about America is you have the freedom to choose whatever gun it is you want.
Absolutely. But I like I said, my whole thing is I think we've gone a little bit too far into just get a stock gun and you're fine. When or just get Glock 19, which, like I said, I think it's a fine. My first gun was a Glock 19. I still carry a Glock 19 most
I
days.
see your point, and I appreciate the value in your point.
I just think we don't want to go too far to where we're almost gatekeeping getting a good gun to you have to be a good shooter to get.
Yeah, and I don't think there's necessarily that either, because like I think the Glock 19 is your gateway drug.
Yep.
Like I'll admit my first gun wasn't a Glock 19. My very first handgun at the ripe age of like 16 or so was this bad boy right here.
What's
a
this?
SIG 226 TAC Ops.
Ooh.
I wanted the 226 Navy. My mom went to a gun store. They didn't have the Navy, but they had this. This thing costs like twice as much as the regular Navy because it's the fancy TAC Ops version. And I loved this thing. I dry fired with it a ton and got not that great at shooting it. Now I can't shoot this thing for dick because of how high my grip is. What'll end up happening is I'll decock the gun in the middle of shooting and whatnot. But
they need to make a Cogworks decocker.
Yeah, right.
I also
but this
started with
was
an
my
air-fired
gateway.
gun.
This was my gateway gun. Like would I carry this today? Fuck no. I've got so many better options. Could I? Yeah, if I was a goofy little goose and wanted to do that, I could.
Yeah.
But nah.
Bro, bottom line is this. Pick a fucking gun, go shoot it. As long as you're not rocking a high point, and I have a personal vendetta against Taurus as well. This shit's just ugly, and you have no taste if you own one. But that's it. Just fucking pick a gun and go shoot the fucking thing. You know what I mean? Look at Chicago. I'm sure they're not too choosy. They're fucking killing the hell out of people over there. Fucking bucking shots everywhere.
And since Larp brought it up,
You're gonna get flagged.
Go ahead, skip ahead a little bit.
A defibrillator?
thought I found the point, maybe.
This is a Beretta.
There we go.
92M. It's a very accurate close-range weapon. Don't point it at me.
Sorry.
It's 15 rounds. When the mag is empty, the slide will lock back like this.
How do you know so much about this?
To reload.
What?
This button. The empty bag falls out. Right here. Shove the other one in, like the batteries in the flashlight in the kitchen. Then release the slide.
Why are you giving me a gun?
There could be others. If you have to use it, you stay low. You identify your enemy. Point shoot. Very simple.
God.
Point shoot. Step back.
All right, so I had to find the scene.
I just got gayer by watching that. I don't know.
How
somehow.
dare you? Tom Cruise is a national treasure.
Yeah. No, Nick Cage is a national treasure.
Nick Cage is also a national treasure. But Tom Cruise is also a national treasure. He's like the
All right,
last
boys.
like action hero.
Deus Vult. That's all I can tell you all. This is what will save us.
But
All right.
shooting really is that. Shooting is honestly very simple. I'm working on a whole series of how to shoot, and it'll be a couple videos because I'm going a little more in depth. But shooting is not that difficult. Like, I'll take a shooter who has some experience, and within like an hour or two, they're like a much better shooter because it's honestly a very simple thing. There's so much snake oil out there, like that, whatever bullshit, that oil that makes you think there's something more to it than there is. Right, because that's how you sell training. That's how you sell products.
Here's what I will tell. Here's my 2 cents, and then we can zip things up. Find a friend that is like your go-to gun guy. Don't find some like YouTube personality. Don't find some dude that's getting paid to give their opinions out on the internet. Find a friend, build a community. What a concept, right? Build a community, go shoot with them, learn together. All humans have their own unique individual experiences that they bring to the table. If you have a wide group of fellas from a wide background in different areas of shooting, you're going to learn a lot. More so than a 30-minute Grand Thumb video is going to give you. And it'll be way more fulfilling. So do that.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, all you, dog.
I was going to say, that's exactly not how I started. I've been shooting for longer than that, but maybe about 5 years ago, a friend of mine and I decided we're going to start training together. And for like 3 years, we trained together a lot. We still shoot every now and then. I wish
I had that. I didn't have that. So I bought a lot of stupid shit.
I mean, I bought a lot of stupid shit too. Like,
right? So find a friend who can tell you, hey, man.
Don't buy that dumb shit.
I've been there, done that. Don't do that.
I think you kind of have to buy that dumb. I think we've all bought that dumb shit, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, we've all bought that grip that we thought was going to be great. We bought that dry fire tool that we thought was going to change our lives. We bought that holster that we thought was going to help us conceal better or whatever, and it just turned out to be fucking garbage.
I think one of the biggest things new shooters have to get over is the fact that look at me, I'm shooting a gun. Pew, bang, bang, bang. It's exploding in my hand. It's just exciting. They're not introspective. They're not doing enough to kind of discern one thing that they're doing versus another, right? So I think you watch some basic YouTube videos on how to shoot a gun, and then you go find out for yourself. I think there are rights and wrongs. There's a lot of ways to slice the pie, but there are rights and wrongs. When I teach, today I taught a new shooter course at the store. What I teach is grip and stance to start off with in the most basic format. I know, like, Pav, you're not like big stance guy. You could give a fuck about it.
It's not that I don't care. My thing is,
I think in a very fundamental, basic way, it's important. But once you start getting advanced, it's different.
People tend to fuck up their stance and cause problems shooting.
Yeah.
It's in the knees. It's not in your waist and your upper body. But two, this is a whole other thing. But so many people will lean at their upper body. You really want to lower your center of gravity at your legs and like your hips.
Yeah.
Not like your upper body. So many people contort their upper body.
But what I'm saying is, I give them
long
the
story
basics
short
to line up, right? I give them the basics to line up, and I do it in a very communicable way. And what I tell them is, now you're going to go home. This is like first time shooters. Nobody has even fired around, and we just go through dry firing, and we go through cert pistol stuff at the store. And I'm going to tell you, there's cert pistols all over. You can see the fucking laser going here, there, and everywhere. By the time I get them done, I have them shooting like little 3, 4 inch, 5 inch, 8 inch groups, whatever. Right. And that's in like within an hour. So you're right in the sense that it's not that hard, but you have to be able to communicate that to people. So if you're going to teach something to people, it's not, this is a Beretta 92F, point and shoot. It's there's something to it.
Absolutely, but and a lot of instructors, and this is what I will say indicates a good or a bad instructor. It's not. It's a little more vague. There's more in depth to say, but there's so many instructors I will see. I've gone to tons of classes and trainings. You need a better trigger press. You need a better grip. You need to fix your stance.
Yeah, what does that mean? How do I do that?
Exactly. What is a good stance? What is a good? They never can explain that. They can't articulate that. They can't actually diagnose your issues, because anyone can look at your target and say, okay, well, all your shots are low left, and the group is like this big. You're doing something wrong, and then they can kind of throw shit out, and you'll try something, and maybe you'll get it. That's probably 90% of firearms instructors.
When guys are trying guns at my store, I watch people very closely, because it indicates to me right away the way they hold the gun, whether they're proficient or not proficient. When I see they do this shit, like when they do that weird shit, instead of being all, normal, like here, they're all like this crossed off. They're pushing their support hand off the fucking, or their primary hand off the gun with their support hand, and they're doing all weird stuff. And they're doing, this one gets me every time. Oh, if I didn't have the light here, when they put their finger in front of the trigger guard.
So I know people that do this. This actually isn't.
Lena Michalek does that.
Yes, I know a lot of competition shooters that shoot like this because they don't have to deal with a light. So it's not actually. You can end up pulling the gun if you don't do it right, but you can actually accomplish it.
Yeah,
it's just most people don't know what they're doing, so normally it is a sign of like just complete.
Just watching people do it is painful, and for me personally, like, right away, I know who I'm dealing with. It takes me 10 seconds to diagnose it because of the way they're. I had a guy today. He was like, "Oh, this gun's great," and he was literally like this. He was like up on it, like a red dot, up on the pistol, like it was a red dot on a rifle or something like that, like it was shouldered. So look, it's not a judgment. It's just that way I can diagnose how.
It is a judgment. Judgment isn't necessarily bad.
It's one of these things. It's not like I'm saying, oh, you're a shitbag. I'm saying it more like, oh wow, this guy's not that experienced. Let's get him some experience, just even by buying the gun. Let's show.
That's one of the funny things about the gun community is because everyone wants everyone to be better. We're not like saying, oh, you bought a piece of shit gun, you're a terrible person. No, it's you bought a piece of shit gun. I want you to have something better. Because at the end of the day, like, realistically, I'm not going to be at your gunfight. You're not going to be at my gunfight. I don't really give
unless those two people get into a gunfight.
Yeah. Well, then I wish you had a high point and like some dog shit thing, like, fuck you.
Or no, if you get into the gunfight together against someone else, then that's different.
Yeah, that's totally different. But like most of the time, that's not the case. Like, unless it's your like significant other or you work on some kind of like security team or law enforcement or whatever. Most of the time, not the case.
Yeah.
We in the gun community, like random strangers on the internet, I still want you to be better just for the sake of you being a better person in this and being better equipped and capable of handling all these situations. Like friends don't let friends buy P320s.
Right.
And I got in this
Or
debate the
Walther
other day,
PDPs.
and I kind of like my PDP. It
Gross.
doesn't explode like the SIG does. Anyway,
This is true.
Correct.
I was talking with my friend, and I was like bullying, and we're fairly close friends, so you know, like I called him some mean things, like in a loving way, you know.
Yeah.
And he
Fuck you.
started getting like actually offended over it, and I'm like, oh, you're frail, but I'm not bullying you because I don't like you. Like I genuinely want you to do something better. Like why are you buying all these fancy flashy like Strike Industries parts for your P320 when you could take that money, sell your P320, go buy something that has a track record of not exploding
Mm.
and be better suited. And he's like, well, they don't do that anymore, and like just pouring out
trying to
tons
talk
of copium.
with anyone who has
And
become
actually taking
emotionally
personal
invested in
offense.
any brand or product is like talking to a brick wall on fire.
And I was trying to tell him, like, dude, it's just a gun. Like, there's no reason to be emotionally attached to it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I have guns in here that I'm very emotionally attached to. Like, that one right there that you can barely see. That's my first gun ever. It's a little Henry 22 lever gun thing.
Nice.
I love that thing. That's my first gun, and I'm going to keep that forever, and I'd love to give that to my kid one day. But that's really the only one. It's not like I could give like, in all honesty, if I have to use this gun in a defensive shooting or whatever, and then it gets locked up in some evidence locker for the next like 99 years, I don't care. Yeah, I've won competitions with this. I've put tons of rounds through it. Whoop-de-doo. It's nothing special. I can go buy another one.
Well, that's why I like Shadow Systems, because they'll give you a new one.
Yeah, that's cool. That Henry there, sure, I could go buy another Henry, but that will never be my first Henry ever again.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like your first Glock or anything like that. That's a little more sentimental. All right, guys, I think we should wrap it up. We're getting to that hour and a half mark.
Let's go.
LARP, where can people find you, support you, stalk you?
You can try. I don't recommend it. I have guns. At Larperatorkid, Larperator kid on Instagram. That's about the only place I actually check things. I don't post as frequently as I used to. I've kind of been on a hiatus.
He's too cool for social media.
I guess you could say that. But that's about where I'm at.
All right, Pete, where can people follow you, support you, stalk you, molest you, all that good stuff?
So you could support me in two places on Instagram, tfn.15, or Good Guys Guns and Ammo LI, like Long Island, all underscores in between, on Instagram. And you can check us out at the Good Guys Guns and Ammo podcast as well, which is growing. We're on episode 6 this week.
Will there be there'll be another episode this Thursday?
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna.
So tomorrow, guys, this video will be releasing Wednesday. So tomorrow,
on YouTube,
watch this.
YouTube, Spotify, audio, Apple Podcasts, whatever.
And you guys do them live, right?
Yeah, we do them live now on Thursday nights at 8:00. This week we're talking about what gun should I buy? The most common question.
We just talked about that. So you can get some. So go check out the Good Guy Guns and Ammo podcast on YouTube. You can get some live follow-up to what we just talked about here tonight. All right, guys, find me at Donkey Defense on most social media or donkeydefense.com. All right, guys, thank you for watching. If you made it all the way through, comment, what was your first gun? I'd like to hear. I'm always kind of interested to see, where did people start? Was it a high point? Was it a CZ? Was it an M&P? Was it a staccato? Let us know down in the comments below. Otherwise, guys, subscribe and stay tuned.